So we introduce the second part of the event, and then the floor is to Larissa, the one.
Okay. Thank you, Manuela.
And welcome to the Global Business Group, where we aim to unlock the potential of international business, providing unique local business solutions internationally. We specialize in business advisory, import and export opportunities, market entry, investment, and funding to help you achieve your business goals. Now, let's get into today's business day.
Okay, thank you everyone. Where is Lara? I think we dropped her.
No, I saw her.
I think we dropped her just now.
Oh.
Okay, let me just quickly introduce about Lara. Let her come and join us. So I started working with Lara some 1.5 to 2 years before. So she's back. So I know Lara with the check-in invoice. Yeah, she's part of, she's one of the operations head in India, and she manages the complete operations for Indian entity. Me and Lara, we work for a common clients. The client is onboarded by us, and then Lara and team, they manages the check-in invoice process for that client, and we all both share the revenues. I think this is something which was very exciting to me, because that one particular process worked very well in collaboration with a third party. So I thought, why not we introduce Lara to GBG, because they are already doing some international projects with multiple companies. So over to you, Lara. The floor is yours, and we have also given you the hosting rights, so you can always begin your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sachin. It's great to be part of this meeting, and thank you for inviting me. It's a great opportunity to showcase our product. And like I was talking to everybody in the previous breakout, we are check-in invoice. I will just share my screen with you so that, So this is our company. We started about in 2018 in UK.
Lara, sorry, it's a blank page, Lara. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. I don't know why it's not giving me. Can you see my screen now?
No, it's still screen is there, but it's a blank one.
Okay. I don't know why it's giving me the option of only whiteboard. It's just allowing me a whiteboard, nothing else.
Can you share the screen?
Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see this. Yeah, it's
okay. Because I was trying to share another screen before. Okay, so we actually launched in 2018 in UK. It's a UK-based company. In our partner companies in UK, we do a lot of medical transcribing for National Health Services, which is NHS, and we do a lot of other digital documentation for companies in UK. However, we launched with invoice processing in 2018. We launched as a company which would identify fraud in invoices, but very soon we expanded it to a lot of other documents. Besides doing fraud detection, we do a lot of document extraction and validation. And I will take you through the presentation, which is just a couple of slides, and please feel free to ask me any questions along the way. Now, check-in invoice, the name is a little misleading. Now we call ourselves CAI Group. We only don't extract from invoices. We extract from any kind of document. So it could be an airway bill number, a bill of lading, a bill of entry, like I heard certain freight questions coming up in one breakout session. We could also do a lot of consulting work. We have companies in the US who do give us a lot of documents to help them do a lot of comparison between two different documents. It could be school, it could be college. We do work for Accenture to help them, which are HR consulting, to help them validate employees who join the company and see various documents and cross-validate those documents. So it's not only restricted to invoices, it can be any kind of document that you would want to extract. Where you're doing a lot of manual data entry, it can all be replaced by our platform. So who are we? We are actually a smart document processing company. So we are not just an OCR. You might have heard of companies which just extract data from documents. We do that. But in addition to that, we also do a lot of validations. We check for fraud. We check for compliances. We go and extract data from various databases that you might have. We do cross references from them, and then we give you a result from the extraction that has happened. By doing this, what we actually are doing is we're removing a lot of manual entry that happens in CRMs, in accounting systems, in ERPs. And by removing manual entries, we are actually driving efficiency and eliminating costs for companies, and therefore driving savings. What has happened with the help of our companies, a lot of people have moved from account payables and got upskilled and moved to different departments. So thereby, we also help employees, upskill themselves. So we work with all kinds of companies. We work with account payables teams. It could be a small to large company. We work with BPOs. BPOs are back office companies and shared services who might be working with a lot of small companies and giving them HR consultancy, account consultancies. So, and they have a lot of manual entry that happens into various systems. We take all that away from them. We work with consulting companies. Like I was saying, it could be a HR consulting company. It could be a legal consulting company where they have a lot of legal documents and we help them extract. There could be contracts which are 100 pages, but they only need about 10, 15 relevant points to come out in one Excel sheet from hundreds of contracts. We do that too. And we work with a lot of banks to help extract data from applications. It could be handwritten, it could be a printed document, it could be a loan document, it could be a credit card application. We do all those kind of extractions and validations. Now, like I was saying, they're large OCR companies and all of them extract data very well. And what we do is, besides extracting data, we do data validations. What that means is, if you tell me that from my document, with the document that I'm giving you, supposing it's an invoice, I have to ensure that the 50 data points are captured. Now, if that document has those 50 data points, we will ensure it is captured. We also understand, and if I'm giving you an example of an invoice, that all suppliers may not have the same format of their invoices. It could be unstructured invoices. Sometimes people are giving invoices in an email. Sometimes they're giving you a Word document. The logo could be somewhere. The bank details could be somewhere. The tax number could be elsewhere. So irrespective of what the structure of the document is, we will ensure that the document gives you the data that you want if it is present in that document. Then we have Sherlock, which is our fraud detection, where we go and identify whether it's a duplicate invoice, whether the tax number is correct or not. Then we do Auditor. Auditor is where we actually ask the company, what are your compliance rules that you want us to check? And we then go and run Auditor and check all the compliance rules for the companies. It could be something like as simple as a supplier cannot give you a bill of more than $1,000. If it's more than $1,000, you have to take an approval from somebody. So those kind of validations also we can do through Auditor. Now, what is the process? Usually what happens in any document processing company is you give them the document, they extract the data, and they give it back to you. Then it's up to you to check whether all the data points are there, whether they're correctly captured, whether the validations of your compliances are done, or if there's any fraud. So you're expected to do that. At Check and Invoice, what we say is just give us the document. We will do everything for you, and we'll give back the document to you only if there is an approval required. Else the data will keep flowing into your accounting system if it's an invoice, or a CRM system if it's any other document that you've given which needs to go into a CRM system. What this means is, so we have companies who do say up to 10,000 documents a day. So earlier they had a team of say 150 people doing it. Now suddenly, and each of those 10,000 documents had to be manually put into the accounting system. Now what's happened is, because of Check and Invoice, if they have only 10% of invoices which go for approval, they're only looking at 1,000 invoices. So they don't need such a big man force or such a big team to do this anymore. They could reduce the size of the team and get those people to do other things. So instead of now inputting 10,000 data points from invoices, they only have to look at 1,000 invoices where there are certain approvals required. So that's how effective this platform is. So we work with large companies which have, say, 15 warehouses all over in India. We help them manage all the invoices that come into warehouses. The trucks are waiting at the gate till they enter. the trucks can only enter after we validated that the invoice is correct and we do all the invoice sanity checks, and then the truck enters and unloads. So that's how, and earlier all this was happening manually. So that's how we have actually streamlined a lot of companies' processes to manage their invoicing. Now, what is auditor? What can we do in auditor? And these are just few examples. We have companies which have like 20 checks. These are only 6 examples I've given you here, but we do all kinds of checks. So, and examples are like a duplicate invoice. We will check for bank details. We will check if there's a new supplier. So usually when we upload, when we onboard a client, we take the supplier master and put the supplier master onto our platform. And while we're scanning all the invoices, if there's an invoice of a new supplier, we give them an alert and say, okay, this supplier is not part of your supplier list. Would you like to approve the supplier before we go and extract the data? Then we do line total mismatch. So if we have invoices of say 4 or 5 pages, we check if the line totals are correct and the total at the end of the 5th page is correct or not. Delivery charges. What we say is if the delivery charge is more than 20% of the value of the invoice, we will give you an alert. And transaction limit, we can put a transaction limit for each one of the suppliers and give you an alert in case the transaction limit is exceeding. In addition, we do Sherlock. Now, Sherlock, the biggest reason for invoice fraud online is business email compromise. And I don't know whether you've experienced it or not, because I have, where you get an email from a person who looks very familiar to you. And it was an email like from my boss to say, listen, can you quickly release this money? Because I'm in a meeting, get approvals and release it. And when you look at the email, you will see it looks like your boss's email or a person you know's email, but the alphabet is a little amiss. Our system actually catches that. It'll give you an alert to say this email doesn't look right. Please mark it as safe before we go ahead and process it. So that's how we look at Sherlock works. And then we do VAT and GST number checks. We do PAN number checks or any other company registration checks. We check the supplier address with what is there in your vendor master. We do photo matching. Photo matching we actually do mostly in the insurance segment, where we have a claim from various people, and we check whether the government ID photo matches the recent photograph of the person. Even if it's like a 15-year-old government ID, our system actually goes and sees whether it's the same person or not. And we do bank account verifications in some countries where we can do a penny drop. So what we do is we drop a penny into that bank account and we get all the information and see whether it's the same person who's doing the claim, whether it's his bank account or not. So these are just few examples of Auditor and Sherlock that I wanted to share with you. But these 2 things can be completely customized as per what you want. Like if it's an heavy bill number, you could say, make sure that with the heavy bill number, you see the invoice number and check the invoice number with the invoice that you've extracted, or any kind of checks like that is possible to do. Any questions?
Yes, I do. Larissa.
Yes.
This type of thing, if I have a client who only wants a once-off audit or a once-off verification, how will this work? Just a once-off. Let's say, for instance, I've got a client that only wants to know, can he pay this guy once off? You know, how would they go about it? They wouldn't put in the whole system just for a once-off check. Do you guys do once-off checks and things like that?
So I'm not sure if I've understood the question. You're saying it's a one-off payment?
No, let's say, for instance, I have a client who wants to pay somebody in Pakistan, right?
Right. Yeah.
They received a bank account.
Yes.
And now they want to know, they want to do that penny drop thing.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So we will, yeah.
So would they then contact you and you manage this, or do they need to get this whole digital system up and running for themselves?
Okay. So no, so we won't do that as a one-off. What we do is we do a whole invoice extraction, and we won't, it's not a B2C, it's a B2B platform. So it has to be a company which comes to us and say, okay, we've got these set of invoices. And in the process, one of the things can be a bank account verification. Now, we actually just one thing which is important to say is that we do extraction and we give all the data which goes into an accounting system. So we're not part of the payment ecosystem. We come one step before the payment ecosystem. You have an SAP, Oracle, or a Microsoft Dynamics, or a any accounting system, we come one step before where the data is put into the accounting system and when the payment is made. So we are not part of the payment ecosystem. We're part of this one step before where we put data into your platform, which does the payment. So in your example, if I need to go cross country and I need to verify a person's account number, that will not be done from this platform. That's like a B2C. That's more like a PayPal or a
Lulenka, I would like to add one example here. So let's say me and Lara, so Lara is having a check-in invoice platform, and you and me, we want to do a business together. Now you must be subscribing their option, and so I become one of your vendor. So when I get in, let's say for a transaction, when I'm in touch with you, I will submit my invoice where you will make the payment to me. Now the goods are received by you. The invoice is received by you. You are going to make the payment. So when you are making the payment to me, you have already pre-signed contract. That extraction of the contract is through check-in invoice you have taken and saved somewhere in a digital format. When the invoice comes, that invoice also extracted into a digital format. If the invoices come on the email, that email will automatically extract that and put it to your accounting system. If at all there, the bank account number is something which is there, I mentioned, which is other than the contract, your system will bring a trigger, and then you can reject my invoice and ask someone that please provide the right bank details or right accounting details so that I can transfer the money to you. So that is only when there is a contract between two parties. So it's basically simplifying your checking process. It's simplifying your accounting process. It's simplifying your overall process. That is how it is going to work for you.
Yeah. So if you give me 2 minutes, I can actually show you the platform. So if I'm in India, I go and I just log in like Sachin was mentioning, when I actually email the invoice. If not, you can actually drag and drop the invoice. And we do hundreds and hundreds of invoices. So usually we pick it up from FTP or from a Google Drive of a company. They just go submit the invoice.
Lara, just a moment. So basically this platform is a AI and ML enabled. So what artificial intelligence does is they have the process of training the invoices. So a set of invoices can be trained by the system on the back end. And once the system is trained, they start processing as and when this invoice comes. So the manual intervention practically eliminated to zero. So when the invoice comes automatically on a particular email, automatically the email throws that to check-in invoice platform validates it because you have already trained them. It extracts the information, does the validation through their Sherlock and other audit theory. And then finally the extraction comes, which you can take it to your accounting software for accounts payable processing and payment passing. So, you know, the complete process is seamless. That's what their software does.
Correct. Thank you, Sachin. Correct. So yeah, so Sachin was saying the invoice comes to us, it goes in for processing, the data gets extracted. Now this is the invoice I submitted, the data has got extracted, it's given me an exception alert. I can go and see what the exception is. It says it's a duplicate invoice. The invoice is usually here. You can see the PDF of the invoice, it will just come up. So that's where the invoice will be. Then you have a choice to either approve or reject the invoice. Only if you approve the invoice will the data flow into your ERP system. If you reject it, the information will not flow into your system. Now, while my document was getting processed, just the soft copy of the invoice. I'll show you what are the rules the system looked for. So all the ticked ones are the rules it looked for. It looked for a bank name, invoice number, delivery charges, net total. It did not look for signature. HSN code is very India specific. It's a product code. A QR code, we actually do barcode reading also. In India, that's required for some e-invoices where we extract the data. We do that too. And then it tells you whether it's a future dated invoice or it's a backdated invoice, if it's within the financial year. All that kind of checks can be done. And basis that, then the client just goes and says, okay, I'm good to make payment for this. So I'll approve it. And the invoice goes for approval. Now, if you have an API, then with any of your accounting system, then the invoice actually gets synced with the accounting system real time. Or else you have to go, this is an account of here because I've got several accounts. You can go to that particular account of that buyer, and each buyer can have separate accounting systems, and I can download the information through a CSV file. If I don't have an API, usually an API works real time. CSV you can take out, download as and when you want. And these are the data points I've asked for. I can pick and choose the data points I want, and I do submit. So like I was saying, these are the data points which I have asked for in my workflow, and this is completely customized. You can choose to have much less or more, depending on what your country's requirements are. And this is what the CSV file will look like. All the data points will just come up immediately. So there's no more manual entry, no more nothing. Nobody has to check anything. It all gets done through the, oh, you can't see, sorry. Oh, I sorry, I could you see my screens? My demo?
Yes, it's fast visible. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, okay. Did you see the CSV file too? Because I wasn't sure whether the CSV file.
No.
Okay.
Not
Because okay. So then this is the CSV file comes, and this is how then you can go ahead and extract the data. So this is what the platform does. Once the information is onboarded onto your payment system, that's when the payment happens. Sorry, Sachin. Yes.
No. I was thinking that, well, let's keep the floor open for people to ask questions, because they would be having questions.
Sure,
and I
sure.
feel, Boris, for you, I think it seems to be something exciting, because there are documentation which you process and your partners and your companies process. Do you think there's something which we can do together?
Well, I think for our need, we have not so many invoices and procedures, but our clients do.
Okay.
So this is what would be interesting maybe for them. My question is, so Larissa,
Yes.
where are your company situated? Where is your company situated?
So we, as a company, our company is in the UK and in India.
Okay.
Our CEO and our board sits in the UK, and we've got some clients in the UK. Our sales team is also UK and in India. Our operations are in India, and our technology team is in India.
Okay. What is your demographics? Which companies or legal persons are most keen of using your system?
So when it comes to companies, all large companies want to use our platform for invoicing. But if you're looking at, besides the account payables of large companies, a lot of companies who do accounting shared services, like CAs, chartered accountants, or back office companies who do extraction for various companies because they don't have their own financial team or accounting team. They use us, like the ones we say shared services or BPOs, they use us a lot. So these are the two large segments that we work with.
Okay, Sachin and Larissa, is it possible? Larissa, do you have maybe a really simple and short demo, like video demo or something like this, that I could send to a few of my clients, that just to see their interests?
Sure, I can send you a video demo.
Boris,
Yep.
For the contract reading, they also have a process where the two contracts comparison, or if you have the data points for a contract. So let's say if you have a 100-page contract, which you want to look at, instead of going through all the 100 pages, you have some 10, 15, 20 or 30 pointers. So they can actually extract the information from that contract and match it with those 20, 30 points which you really want to have it. So those things also, they have the process. So that's the document extraction. So specific to your contracts also you can do it.
I'm not sure the answer. One thing is to compare two documents. This can be done in Word in many application or softwares. Is it possible also this system to do? What is the problem, for example, in legal offices when we draft a new contract? We often think about, okay, this article like warranty or indemnities or something like this, I have done in many contracts before. So maybe I don't have to write it, everything
Okay.
new. So usually we check the old documents, we must find which documents we have made. So there already are tools for this, but for now we don't use it. So, but this could be maybe handy for the law office.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure if you have something like this in your solution.
So when it comes to legal documents, in particular to what you're saying, no, but the kind of legal documents we're doing for a lot of our US clients is title documents, wills, mortgage documents, all those kind of extraction has been done by us. And they're like, so they give us all the mortgage documents. We just have to extract the data points for them so that they have all the relevant data points from who to what, how much amount, when has to be paid, all that from the 5-10 pages, and we give it to them, and they have a nice Excel sheet with all the relevant information for hundreds of their clients. So the kind of extractions that are being done.
Okay, so you actually, so you have like smart forms to do this, or you just extract data from the contracts or documents?
We extract data from the documents.
Okay.
We also, so while extracting data, there are a lot of backend things that we need to do. So if it's from a particular county, we need to pull out certain county numbers, we have to pull out certain county details. So we extract that from masters. So there's a lot of cross-referencing, validation, and making sure that all the relevant data from the document and from the backend.
Well, I believe such a solution will be very well accepted in the class cases. Yes. And with insurances, banks, so the yes. companies that deals with a lot of inflowing data in some forms that are usually not equally so the data is not visible like on the same.
Yeah, it's not structured.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be structured, but the clients usually then write differently, not in the way that the company wants. Yeah,
true.
So I suggest, Sachin, because I have to go because I have another meeting already waiting in 2 minutes. Let's schedule maybe a meeting separate.
Sure.
And discuss cooperation. Okay, further.
Sure. No worries.
Okay.
Thank you, Lara. We will end the meeting, and I'll hand over back to you, Manuela. I'll share the details of Lara on the business group. You can always reach out to me for any one-on-one meeting with Lara. So I have done projects with her, so I know the competency of the software, and it not only takes from the computer-based invoices, but also they do a lot of extractions from my handwritten documents as well. So I did a very specific project for Dubai where a lot of handwritten documents were extracted by their team, and we were able to automate the complete process. A 3 months lag was made down practically to zero. So that's the kind of opportunity we all can have it. And as I said earlier in all the other meetings, Lara is here to give us this demo for the product where we can always work together and make joint revenues. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity, Sachin. Thank you so much. It was great meeting everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this presentation. It was extremely interesting. And I understood a lot of processes that we found in the multinational companies asking to make payments from right to left to up to down. So it's absolutely, it was absolutely explanatory for me. And so I absolutely ask everybody to complete this this analysis with the elements, the additional elements that you will provide. We go to the end of the meeting now, and we reach the end of our meeting also. So we thank you everybody for having met today. And we close our meeting because we are at the hour, so we don't want to make you any late following meeting. We thank
Thanks
you.
for joining in. We'll see you at the same time next week. In the meantime, be sure to check out our website, www.globalbusiness.group. The Global Business Group, making international business easy.